The night Ethan Kelly vanished was warm for September in Nebraska. Stars filled the sky above the cornfields surrounding the small town of Riverside. 10-year-old Ethan had been riding his bike home from his friend's house. It wasn't far, just 6 blocks, and he'd made the trip many times before. At 8:17 p.m., the security camera at Miller's gas station caught a final glimpse of the boy pedaling past. By 8:30, his parents, Jack and Marie Kelly, began to worry. By 9 o'clock, they were in their car, dragging slowly through the neighborhood, calling his name. By midnight, half the town was searching. Officer Diane Warren arrived at the Kelly home early the next morning. Unlike some of her colleagues who suspected Ethan had simply wandered off, Diane took a different view. 23 years on the force had given her good instincts, and something about this case felt wrong. "I promise we'll find your son," Diane told the Kellys as they sat at their kitchen table, eyes red from crying and lack of sleep. Jack Kelly, a mechanic at the local garage, buried his face in his hands. He wouldn't just disappear. He's a good kid. Marie couldn't even speak. She clutched her son's baseball glove, the one he'd left behind, because his friend already had a ball and 2 gloves. Diane walked the route Ethan should have taken home. At the corner of Maple and Pine, she found his bicycle, neatly placed against a tree. There were no signs of a struggle, no tire marks on the road, nothing that suggested what might have happened. But her detector, a standard-issue device that measured radiation and unusual energy fields, beeped softly. She frowned at the reading. It wasn't dangerous, but it was odd. A type of energy residue she'd never seen before. 200 miles away, in a secure underground facility, Captain Neil Harrison of the spacecraft Defiant was awakened by an urgent call. As the newest and most advanced ship in Earth's small but growing space fleet, the Defiant was humanity's pride. Harrison had been its captain for just 6 months. "Sir, you need to come to communications immediately," the voice said. Harrison found his communications officer, Lisa Gold, staring at her screen. "We received this 20 minutes ago," she said. "It didn't come through any of our usual channels." The message on the screen was broken and fragmented. Human child. Coordinates. Council experimentation. Breach of treaty. Warning. Below was a string of numbers that made no sense to Harrison at first glance. "Where did this come from?" he asked. "That's the strange part, sir. It appears to have originated from somewhere near the Ta City system." Harrison felt a chill. "That's impossible. We haven't sent any ships that far yet." "Exactly, sir. Whatever sent this is not one of ours." Within hours, Admiral Frank Porter had assembled an emergency meeting at Space Command headquarters. Scientists, military leaders, and government officials gathered around a large conference table. "What we're about to discuss does not leave this room," Porter began. His weathered face was grim. Dr. Ellen Wright, chief of xenobiology, spoke next. "We've analyzed the signal. It's definitely artificial, and almost certainly not of human origin." The room fell silent. "The coordinates point to a location approximately 12 light-years from Earth," she continued. "And the reference to a council matches rumors our deep space listening posts have picked up over the past few years." "Are you saying we're not alone?" General Paul Simmons asked. "I'm saying we may have been noticed," Dr. Wright replied. Admiral Porter cleared his throat. "There's more. The message mentions a human child. Yesterday, a boy named Ethan Kelly disappeared from his hometown in Nebraska. Local police reported unusual energy readings at the site. Captain Harrison looked at the faces around him. Humanity had been venturing into space for decades now, establishing bases on Mars and the Moon, with exploratory missions pushing farther out each year. But they had never encountered other intelligent life, or at least that's what most people believed. "The Defiant will investigate these coordinates," Porter announced. "Captain Harrison, you leave in 48 hours. Find out who sent this message, and if there's any chance this boy is out there, bring him home." The Defiant asterisk cut through the darkness of space like a knife. Captain Neil Harrison stood on the bridge, watching the stars blur as they traveled faster than light. It had been 3 days since they left Earth. "We're approaching the coordinates, sir," said Lieutenant Kyle Rogers from the navigation station. Dr. Samantha Lloyd adjusted her glasses and looked up from her scientific instruments. As the ship's xenobiologist, she was there to study any alien life they might encounter. "Captain, I'm detecting an artificial structure ahead." "Show me," Harrison ordered. The main screen lit up, and everyone on the bridge fell silent. Before them floated a massive space station. It was unlike anything humans had built. A vast wheel with spokes reaching out in all directions, glowing with lights of different colors. It was easily 20 times the size of Earth's largest orbital platform. "My God," whispered Charlie Ross, the team's linguist and diplomat. "It's beautiful. And definitely not human," added Lieutenant Ben Lawson, head of security. His hand instinctively moved toward his weapon. "Stand down, Lieutenant," Harrison said. "We're here to make contact, not start a war." The communication system suddenly crackled to life. A voice, oddly flat and mechanical, spoke in perfect English. "Human vessel, you have entered Council space. Identify yourselves and state your purpose." Harrison took a deep breath. "This is Captain Neil Harrison of the Earth Ship Defiant asterisk. We received a message concerning a human child. We've come to investigate." There was a long pause. "You are cleared to dock in Bay 7, the voice finally replied. "A welcome party will meet you." Harrison gathered his team. Dr. Lloyd, Lieutenant Lawson, and Charlie Ross. "We stick together. We're friendly but cautious. Remember, we're representing all of humanity." The docking bay was enormous, with ships of different designs parked in neat rows. As they stepped off the Defiant asterisk, Harrison saw their welcoming committee, 3 beings unlike any he had ever seen. The first was tall and thin, with blue skin and 4 arms. The second was shorter, covered in scales that shifted color like oil on water. The third looked almost human, except for its completely black eyes and the ridge of bone running across its forehead. "I am Vexilor," said the blue being. "Welcome to Nexus Station, seat of the Galactic Council." "The Galactic Council," Charlie repeated. "Yes, we are a union of 27 spacefaring civilizations who govern this sector of the galaxy. Your species is known to us, though you have not yet been invited to join." Harrison cut straight to the point. "We received a message about a human child. A boy from Earth was taken. Do you know anything about this?" The 3 aliens exchanged quick glances. Harrison didn't miss it. He had been in enough tense negotiations to recognize when someone was hiding something. "We know of no human children aboard this station," Vexilor said smoothly. "Perhaps your message was in error." Dr. Lloyd was staring at her handheld scanner. "Captain," she whispered, "I'm picking up human DNA traces. They're faint, but they're here." Harrison kept his face neutral. "We would appreciate a tour of your station. As Earth's representatives, we're eager to learn about the Council." "Of course," Vexilor replied, "though some areas are restricted to Council members only." As they walked through the station, they saw aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some looked like walking plants. Others floated above the ground. Many stopped to stare at the humans. "They're studying us," Lawson muttered, "like we're animals in a zoo." Charlie was fascinated by the symbols on the walls. "This is incredible. An entire galactic language system." Dr. Lloyd kept scanning discreetly. As they passed a sealed doorway marked with red symbols, her device beeped. "Captain," she whispered, "strong human DNA signature behind that door." Harrison looked at the restricted section, then at their alien guides who were watching them closely. "We need to get in there," he said quietly. "I think we just found our missing boy." That night, after their tour ended, the crew of the Defiant gathered in their ship to make a plan. Captain Harrison locked down all communications, worried that the Council might be listening. "I don't trust them," Lieutenant Lawson said. "They're hiding something behind that red door." Dr. Lloyd nodded. The DNA readings were strong, not just traces. Someone human is in there right now. Charlie Ross sat quietly, thinking. The way Vex Lore avoided our questions about Ethan, there's definitely something wrong. Captain Harrison spread out a digital map of the station that they had secretly recorded during their tour. The restricted section is here. There are guards at the main entrance, but Dr. Lloyd found a maintenance tunnel that might give us access. "It's risky," Lawson said. "If we're caught, it could mean war between Earth and the Council. And if we do nothing, a 10-year-old boy might be suffering," Harrison replied. "I'm not leaving without knowing the truth." They decided on a simple plan. Dr. Lloyd and Charlie would meet with Council scientists as a distraction, while Harrison and Lawson, along with 2 security officers named Diaz and Chen, would sneak into the restricted area. At 200 station time, when most of the aliens seemed to be in a rest cycle, they put their plan into action. Harrison led his team through the maintenance tunnel. It was narrow and dark, forcing them to crawl on hands and knees. "The door should be just ahead," Harrison whispered, checking the map on his wrist device. Lawson used a small tool to open the panel. They emerged in a dimly lit corridor. The walls here were different, sterile white with strange symbols. "Look at this," Diaz said, pointing to a row of doors. Each had a viewing window and symbols that likely indicated what was inside. Harrison felt cold dread in his stomach as he peered through the first window. Inside was a cage containing what looked like a furry creature with 6 legs. It was clearly injured, with patches of fur missing. The next room held something that resembled a giant insect. The one after that contained a creature made of what looked like living crystal. "They're collecting species," Lawson realized. "This isn't a research facility, it's a zoo." They continued down the corridor until Chen stopped suddenly. "Captain, you need to see this." The room was larger than the others. Inside, on a metal table, lay a small human boy, Ethan Kelly. He was alive but unconscious. Various tubes and wires connected his body to machines that blinked and hummed. His head had been shaved, and there was a fresh scar running along his scalp. "We need to get him out of here," Harrison said, his voice tight with anger. Lawson worked on the door lock, while Harrison contacted Dr. Lloyd through their secure channel. "We found him. Get back to the ship now." Just as the door slid open, an alarm began to blare. Red lights flashed in the corridor. "Someone knows we're here," Lawson said, drawing his weapon. Harrison rushed to Ethan's side. He carefully removed the tubes and wires, then lifted the boy's small body. "Diaz, grab that datapad. We need evidence of what they've done." Diaz snatched a tablet-like device that showed recordings of the experiments. The images made his face go pale. "They've been cutting into his brain," he said, testing his pain responses, his fear reactions. "They've been torturing him." The sound of running footsteps echoed from the corridor. Lawson positioned himself at the door. "We've got company. Multiple hostiles approaching." "Is there another way out?" Harrison asked, holding Ethan close. Chen pointed to a ventilation shaft. "It might lead back to the maintenance tunnels." "Go," Harrison ordered. "Get the boy and the evidence to the ship. If we don't make it back, take off without us. Earth needs to know what happened here." As Harrison passed Ethan to Chen, the boy's eyes fluttered open briefly. They were filled with fear and confusion. "It's okay," Harrison said softly. "We're taking you home." The escape from the Nexus station was chaotic. Alarms blared as Harrison and his team crawled through the ventilation shaft. Ethan's small body carefully passed from one person to another. They could hear the sounds of alien security forces searching for them. "Almost there," Chen whispered, checking the map on his device. They emerged near their docking bay just as Dr. Lloyd and Charlie Ross arrived, running. "The whole station is on alert," Charlie said, breathing hard. "They know what we did." Harrison carried Ethan in his arms. The boy was still unconscious, his skin pale and clammy. Everyone on the ship, now. As they rushed up the ramp of the Defiant Asterisk, alien security forces appeared at the entrance to the docking bay. Strange weapons in hand, they shouted in multiple languages. "Close the hatch," Harrison ordered as he passed Ethan to Dr. Lloyd. "Get us out of here, Lieutenant Rogers." The ship's engines roared to life. The docking clamps hadn't fully released, and the Defiant Asterisk groaned as it pulled away, tearing free. Outside, energy weapons fired, hitting the ship's shields. "Shields at 80%, reported the tactical officer. "Just get us to jump distance," Harrison said. "We need to get back to Earth." In the medical bay, Dr. Lloyd examined Ethan. Her face grew more troubled with each scan. "Captain, you need to see this," she said when Harrison arrived. "They've put something in his brain. Some kind of device. And there are more in his spine and major organs." Harrison looked at the boy's peaceful face. Despite everything, Ethan simply looked like he was sleeping. "Can you remove them?" "Not here. We don't know what they do. We need proper facilities." 3 days later, the Defiant Asterisk arrived back at Earth. They were met by a full medical team at Space Command Headquarters. Jack and Marie Kelly were brought in under tight security. Admiral Porter watched through a window as the parents saw their son for the first time in weeks. Marie collapsed in tears. Jack stood frozen, his face a mix of relief and rage. "What did they do to him?" Jack asked Harrison later in the briefing room. Harrison hesitated. "We're still analyzing the data we recovered, but it appears the council was experimenting on him, testing human limits." "Why?" Marie asked, her voice barely a whisper. Dr. Nicole Carter, Earth's leading neurologist, had been brought in to study Ethan's case. She joined them, carrying a tablet with scan results. "From what we can tell, they were fascinated by human resilience," she explained gently. "Our ability to endure pain, to adapt, to survive. They found it unusual compared to other species they've studied." "Will he be okay?" Jack asked. Dr. Carter's face was grim. "The physical wounds will heal. The implants can be removed with surgery. But the psychological trauma, that will take time." In another room, Admiral Porter met with Earth's top officials. The evidence from the Nexus station played on a large screen. The room was silent except for occasional gasps of horror. "This is what they did to one child," Porter said when the recording ended. "And according to the data we recovered, Ethan isn't the first. There have been dozens over the centuries. They've been watching us, taking us, for hundreds of years." "Have you made contact with the Council since the Defiant Asterisk returned?" asked the Secretary General. Porter nodded. "They claim studying lesser species is their right as the governing body of the galaxy. They see us as animals, not equals." "What do they want?" someone asked. "They've given us an ultimatum. Accept our place in their hierarchy, essentially as a protected but subjugated species, or face what they call regulatory action." The room erupted in angry voices. "We need time to prepare," Porter said. "The Council has technology far beyond ours. But they've made a critical mistake." "What's that?" asked the Secretary of Defense. Porter's eyes were cold. "They hurt our children, and they don't understand what humans will do to protect their young." The news about Ethan Kelly spread across Earth like wildfire. People everywhere watched as Jack Kelly stood before cameras, his face tired but determined. "They took my son. They cut him open. They treated him like a lab animal," he said, his voice breaking. "No parent should ever have to see their child like that. No species has the right to do this to another." His words touched something deep in the human spirit. Across the globe, people who had never met the Kellys felt their pain and shared their anger. Protests formed outside government buildings. Signs read, "Justice for Ethan," and "Humans are not specimens." Meanwhile, in a secret facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Samantha Lloyd made an important discovery. She had been studying the technology from the Nexus station day and night. "Admiral Porter," she said, pointing to her screen. "I found something. The Council's technology has a weakness." Porter leaned closer. "What kind of weakness?" "They rely on a specific energy source for everything. Their weapons, their ships, their stations. It's something they call lux matter. But it's unstable when exposed to certain radiation frequencies." Porter's eyes widened. "Can we use that?" "I think so. With help from engineer Kevin Wright, I believe we can build a weapon that disrupts their energy source." At a hospital in Nebraska, Ethan Kelly sat in his bed, drawing pictures. Most were dark and frightening, strange creatures and cold metal rooms. But Dr. Nicole Carter noticed something interesting about one drawing. "Ethan, what's this?" she asked, pointing to symbols along the edge of the paper. Ethan looked up, his eyes far older than his 10 years. "That's how their doors work. And their computers. I watched them." Dr. Carter realized that Ethan had memorized parts of the Council's technology. Despite everything they had done to him, his mind had been observing, learning. She called Admiral Porter immediately. "Sir, I think Ethan may have gathered intelligence that could help us." Across Earth, nations that had long been rivals now worked together. The threat from beyond the stars united humanity in a way nothing else could. Scientists shared research. Militaries combined resources. Engineers worked around the clock. In orbit, a new fleet took shape. Ships larger and more powerful than anything humans had built before. They carried the new weapons designed by Dr. Lloyd and Kevin Wright. Disruptors that could target the Council's energy source. The flagship of this fleet was named *Vengeance*. Captain Alice Murphy, a decorated officer known for her strategic mind, was chosen to command it. "Our mission is clear," she told her crew during their first briefing. "We will show the Council that humans are not to be experimented on. We will make them understand that we demand to be treated as equals." In the White House, the president addressed a room of international leaders. "We have tried diplomacy," she said. "We have sent messages asking for justice, for acknowledgement of their crimes. Their response has been dismissal and threats. They leave us no choice but to demonstrate our resolve." A vote was taken. It was unanimous. Earth would fight. Jack and Marie Kelly visited Ethan in the hospital the day before the fleet was to launch. Their son was doing better. He smiled sometimes now, though nightmares still came often. "The doctors say I can go home next week," Ethan told them. Marie hugged him gently, mindful of his healing wounds. "That's wonderful, sweetheart." Jack looked out the window at the sky. "Ethan, some people are going to go into space to make sure what happened to you never happens to another child. They're going to make things right." Ethan nodded. "Good. They need to learn." That night, Admiral Porter stood in the control room as the fleet prepared to depart. The ships were loaded with the new disruptor weapons. The crews were ready. Earth had never launched such a force before. "Sir," a communications officer called. "We're receiving a message from the Council." Porter frowned. "Put it through." The alien voice was cold and mechanical. "We have detected your military buildup. This is in violation of galactic law. Stand down immediately or face extinction." Porter looked at the faces around him, then at a photo of Ethan Kelly on his desk. "Send our reply," he said. "Tell them we're coming." The human fleet moved through space like a swarm of angry bees. At its center, the *Vengeance* led the way. Captain Alice Murphy stood on the bridge, watching the stars streak by. "Time to target?" she asked. 3 hours until we reach the Council outpost at Proxima Station," Lieutenant Greg Fisher replied from his station. This would be humanity's first strike. Proxima Station was a small Council outpost, important enough to send a message, but not so vital that its destruction would bring the full might of the Council down on Earth immediately. "All ships report weapons ready," said Weapons Officer Carla Reyes. "Disruptor technology is online and stable." Murphy nodded. "Remember our objectives. We disable their defenses, demonstrate our new technology, and demand to speak with Council leadership. No unnecessary casualties. The plan was not total war, not yet. This was a show of force, a demand to be taken seriously. When they emerged from faster-than-light travel, Proxima Station loomed before them. It was smaller than the Nexus, but still impressive, a silver structure against the blackness of space. "They're hailing us?" Fisher said. "On screen," Murphy ordered. A blue four-armed alien appeared, the same species as Vexlor. Its eyes widened at the sight of the human fleet. "This is an unauthorized approach. Withdraw immediately or—" Murphy cut it off. "This is Captain Alice Murphy of Earth. We are here in response to your Council's crimes against humanity. We demand to speak with your leadership. Humans have no authority here. This station is under Council protection." Murphy's face hardened. "We are not asking. You have 1 hour to evacuate non-essential personnel. Then we will demonstrate what happens when you harm our children." The alien started to respond, but Murphy signaled to end the transmission. "They're powering up weapons," Rise reported. "As expected," Murphy said. "All ships, defensive positions. Prepare disruptors but hold fire until my command." The Council ships that guarded the station moved to intercept the human fleet. They were sleek and clearly advanced, their hulls glowing with the lux matter energy Dr. Lloyd had identified. "They're firing," someone shouted. Beams of bright energy shot toward the human ships. But the shields held. "Return fire," Murphy ordered. "Target their propulsion systems only." The human fleet fired. The new disruptor weapons didn't look impressive. No bright beams or explosions, just pulses of targeted radiation designed to destabilize lux matter. The effect was immediate. The Council ships began to drift, their lights flickering. On the station, sections went dark. "It works," Fisher said, his voice filled with awe. "Their power systems are failing completely." "Open a channel to the station," Murphy said. The blue alien appeared again, now looking confused and frightened. "What have you done?" it demanded. "We've neutralized your technology," Murphy explained calmly. "Your weapons, your shields, your engines. We could destroy this station entirely, but that is not our goal today. What do you want?" "Justice, recognition, equality. The child you took, Ethan Kelly, was not the first human your Council has abducted and tortured. We want those responsible held accountable." The alien was silent for a moment. "I will relay your message to the High Council." After the transmission ended, Murphy turned to her crew. "Begin recording everything. Earth needs to see this victory." Hours later, as the human fleet maintained position around the disabled station, a new transmission came through. It wasn't from the station, but from deeper in Council space. Fisher looked up from his console. "Captain, we're being contacted by someone claiming to be a Council member named Sorax." "On screen," Murphy ordered. The alien that appeared was unlike any they had seen before. It resembled a tall, thin human with skin that looked like polished wood. "Captain Murphy," it said, "I am Sorax of the Taluvi species. I wish to speak with you privately." Murphy raised an eyebrow. "About what?" "About the fact that many on the Council never approved of the human experimentation, about helping you find those truly responsible, and about preventing a war that could destroy both our peoples." The meeting with Sorax changed everything. In a private communication room aboard the Vengeance Captain Murphy listened as the alien revealed the truth. The experiments on humans were primarily conducted by one species, the Vexloran. Sorax explained. "They hold the most power in the Council and have been studying humans for centuries. Many of us objected, but were overruled." "Why are you telling me this?" Murphy asked. "Because what they did was wrong, and because I fear the response they are planning. The Vexloran have called for the complete destruction of Earth." Murphy's blood ran cold. "When?" "They are gathering their fleet now. You have perhaps 2 weeks. Back on Earth, Admiral Porter received the news from Captain Murphy with grim determination. The success at Proxima Station had given Earth hope, but the threat of a Vexloran attack changed their plans. "We need to strike first," Porter told Earth's leaders. "Hit their main worlds before they can mobilize against us." There was debate, but in the end, all agreed. Humanity couldn't wait to be attacked. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Ethan Kelly was making surprising progress. Dr. Carter discovered that the Council implants in his body, now inactive, contained vast amounts of information. Ethan could somehow access this data. "It's like they put their computer inside me," he told her. "I can see their maps, their codes." With Ethan's help, Earth scientists created detailed maps of Council space, identifying key Vexloran planets and military bases. The human fleet, now joined by additional ships, pushed deeper into Council territory. Their disruptor technology continued to prove effective, disabling Vexloran defenses with minimal casualties. "This is wrong," Thorax told Murphy during a secret communication. "The Vexloran must be stopped, but many innocent species are being caught in the conflict." "We're trying to minimize casualties," Murphy replied, "but we can't let them destroy Earth." The Vexloran responded with increasing desperation. When they realized their technology was vulnerable, they began using biological weapons and suicide attacks. Both sides suffered losses. Admiral Porter stood before the Earth Security Council, his face showing the strain of weeks of conflict. "We're winning the battles, but this war could drag on for years," he said. "Our intelligence suggests the Vexloran leadership is gathered at their homeworld, planning a final solution against Earth. Then we need to end this now," the Secretary General said. "How many ships would it take to reach their homeworld?" "It would be a one-way trip for many of our people," Porter warned. "Ask for volunteers." They didn't need to ask. When word spread of the mission to the Vexloran homeworld, every captain and crew member in the fleet volunteered. Captain Murphy would lead the attack. Before leaving Earth orbit, she visited Ethan Kelly. The boy was sitting in the hospital garden, looking much healthier than when they had rescued him. "We're going to make sure they never hurt anyone again," she told him. Ethan looked up at her with serious eyes. "Their homeworld has a weakness. Their main power facility. It controls everything. I can show you where it is." He drew a detailed map from memory, marking the location of the central Lux Matter plant that powered the Vexloran capital. The final battle began as the human fleet jumped into orbit around the Vexloran homeworld. It was a beautiful planet with rings similar to Saturn's, its surface covered with gleaming cities. The Vexloran were waiting. Hundreds of ships moved to intercept the humans. "All vessels, defensive formation," Murphy ordered. "Remember your training. Remember why we're here." The space around the planet erupted in weapon fire. Human ships fell. Vexloran vessels exploded. It was chaos and destruction on a scale humanity had never experienced. But slowly, steadily, the human fleet pushed through toward the planet, toward the target Ethan had identified. "We're taking heavy losses," Murphy's first officer reported. Murphy looked at the image of the Vexloran homeworld on her screen. "It doesn't matter. We only need one ship to get through." The Vengeance shuddered as another blast hit its shields. On the bridge, Captain Murphy held onto her chair as systems sparked around her. "Shields at 12%, Lieutenant Fisher reported. His face was bloody from a cut on his forehead. "Keep our course steady," Murphy ordered. "How many ships do we have left?" 7, Captain. We started with 30. Murphy nodded silently. So many good people lost. But they were close now. The Vexloran homeworld filled the view screen, its beautiful rings now partially obscured by the debris of destroyed ships. "We're approaching the target zone," Weapons Officer Rice said. "Disruptor weapons ready." According to Ethan's information, the central power facility was located in the planet's northern hemisphere. If they could disable it, the entire Vexloran civilization would be crippled. "Captain," Communications Officer Lisa Gold called out, "We're being hailed by the Vexloran High Command." "On screen," Murphy said. The alien face that appeared was familiar. Vexlor himself, the one who had greeted them at the Nexus station and lied about Ethan. "This attack is futile," he said. "Even if you destroy our homeworld, the Council will hunt down every human in the galaxy." Murphy leaned forward. "You still don't understand. We don't want to destroy your world. We want justice. Surrender those responsible for the experiments on our people, and this ends today." "Never," Vexlor spat. "Humans are nothing but test subjects to us. You always have been." "Then you leave us no choice," Murphy said. "All ships target the main power facility and fire." The remaining human vessels fired their disruptors in unison. On the planet below, a massive structure suddenly went dark. The effect spread like a wave across the surface as city after city lost power. "It's working," Fisher said. "Their planetary defense grid is down." Murphy opened a channel to all Vexloran frequencies. "Your power systems are disabled. Your weapons are useless. We could destroy your cities now, but we are not like you. We don't torture the helpless." She paused, letting her words sink in. "You have 1 hour to surrender those responsible for the human experimentation program. If you refuse, we will target your government centers." For 45 minutes, there was silence. Then a new transmission came through, not from Vexlor, but from other members of the Vexloran leadership. "We surrender," a female Vexloran said. "Vexlor and his science division have been detained. We wish to negotiate peace." 3 days later, representatives from Earth met with the new council leadership on a neutral station. Torax served as mediator. The terms were clear. Those responsible for the experiments would face justice. Humans would be recognized as equals in the galaxy, and reparations would be paid to all human victims, starting with Ethan Kelly. Back on Earth, Admiral Porter shared the news with the Kellys. They sat in their living room, Ethan between them on the couch. "It's over," Porter told them. "The people who hurt Ethan will be punished, and Earth is now officially recognized by the Galactic Council." Jack Kelly nodded slowly. "And the implants?" "In Ethan's body. Dr. Carter believes they can all be safely removed now. The surgery is scheduled for next week." Marie hugged her son close. "Will things ever be normal again?" No one answered. They all knew there was no going back to normal. Humanity had discovered they weren't alone in the universe, and that discovery had come at a terrible price. 1 month later, a memorial was unveiled in Washington, D.C. It honored the crews of the 23 ships lost in what was now called the Justice War. At the center was a simple statue of a child, not specifically Ethan, but representing all children and humanity's fierce drive to protect them. As the sun set on the dedication ceremony, ships from a dozen alien worlds appeared in the sky, their lights forming patterns of respect and peace. Among them was Xorax's vessel. Ethan, now free of alien implants, stood with his parents and watched the lights. A reporter asked him how he felt. "I'm just a kid," he said simply. "But I guess I helped people understand something important." "What's that?" the reporter asked. Ethan looked up at the alien ships. "That you shouldn't hurt people just because you think you're stronger than them. Because you never know how strong they really are until you make them angry."